Ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to have a look at the M60 and talk about its existence and why it is even in the game and how it was entered in the game. Now, if you had watched yesterday's video, you would know that today's video is going to be about the M60. So, the M60, how was it introduced into the game and why? Now, this was a big topic back in the day. Nowadays, it's not really talked about because Wargaming have released this tank. They've sold the tank to on a numerous occasion. But what is it? Why is it there? So this is one thing Wargaming have never ever told. They've never told the real story of the M60, who got the tank and why they got it. So the M60, some of you that are new to the game will never really have understood about the M60 and what happened and why so many people were annoyed about this tank. It got given to certain players. Now, I got given this tank and most of my friends got given this tank, and one thing that Wargaming have never said is why we got given it. Now, there is a true belief that it was given to those that spend money on the game, spent a certain amount on the game, which on one side is okay. You know, it's okay if you want to spend your money on a game that you love to play, then that's fine, that is up to you. And it is nice to actually be rewarded every so often for spending money and keeping Wargaming running, because that is ultimately what we do. We spend money on the game, and that is keeping Wargaming alive. That is keeping World of Tanks Blitz alive, because if no one spent money on this game, then there wouldn't be a game. So I have no problems with anybody spending money on this game. After all, it is a game and it's your money, and you could do whatever you want with your money. And for Wargaming to occasionally reward people for spending in their game, again, is absolutely fine, and I like that. But at least tell us, you know, and that is the thing with the M60. They've never said why this was given to people, and they never will, and they never will. And obviously that makes people believe at the time it was given because Wargaming just said they're going to give it to their loyal players, give it to their loyal ones. What does that mean? So some people that might think, well, I played this game for 6 years or however long, 5 years, or maybe even 4 years when this tank was released. I played this game for years since it started. I'm a loyal player. So why didn't I get given this tank? Is it just because I don't spend money on the game? Do I have to spend money on the game to be loyal? No, you don't have to just spend money on the game to be loyal. Playing the game for years and years is loyal. So why didn't them players get rewarded with an M60? And this is where the problem lies. They didn't get rewarded. Wargaming also made an error with this. They gave it to some people that didn't really spend money on the game. People that spent a lot of money on the game didn't get it. I got it. But my best friend at work, when we used to play this game every day, he introduced me to the game. We used to platoon every single day. When we were at work, when we were at home, we would sit in my office and play. When the work's done, we would platoon every single day. We would both spend money on the game. I got the M60, he didn't. Obviously, he was annoyed at that, and because of that, he hasn't ever spent a penny since. This is years ago. He still plays the game. He's never spent a penny since the Wargaming was released. And how many other players have done that? How many players have bought things in the game and they feel that they deserve to get the M60 and they didn't, and then they stopped spending money on the game because of that reason? I bet there's a few. I bet there is a few. So it would be nice for Wargaming to do more rewards like this for their loyal players, not just the people that spend money on the game, but people that have been loyal to in the game. They've played it for years. It would be nice to get these kind of rewards more often. Now, the M60 was it could be classed as the root of all evils. And the reason I say that is because, okay, if you want to gift your players some tanks or a tank for being loyal, why a tier 10? Why does it have to be a tier 10? It could have been a tier 7 or it could have been a tier 8. Now, the tier 10, the M60 was the first premium-ish tank in the game. Now, I say premium-ish because it's not actually a premium. It is an enriched tank. It is enriched, meaning that you don't get more credits. Because it's tier 10, you don't actually get more credits for playing this than you would the M48 pattern, for example, which is pretty much the same tank, just a few differences. So, yeah, that basically is the story of the M60. And like I said yesterday, if you're going to give the M60 to your loyal players, that is why the M60 was created. That is why it was introduced into the game, to gift it to their loyal players. Why do you have to then go and sell it? You know, why go sell it? Why not just keep it as that? Gift it to your loyal players, people that spend money on the game, people that have played the game for years, then leave it as that. Why did you have to go and sell it after? Now, the tank is almost a copy of the M48 pattern. I've seen an M60 at Tankfest at Bovington Museum. It's a very good looking tank, a very big tank. But it is pretty much the same as an M48 pattern. There are some differences. Now, the thing with the M60, which I liked, that it wasn't overpowered. You know, it was the first tier 10 other than tech tree tanks in the game, and it wasn't overpowered. It was average. It was literally average, just like the M48 pattern. It's got a nice gun, it's got a nice turret, and that's it. It isn't the quickest, and it doesn't have any whole armor. So up against other medium tanks, you could get wrecked. So you've got a nice turret, as I've said, 194 millimeters. There are weak points, of course, on the turret, and you've got 121 on your hull. Now, the DPM is actually very nice, or it's not bad, at 3,267. That is with me running calibrated shells, so you could actually get that penetration a bit higher. The reload time is 6.4 seconds. Your penetration 268 with AP, 330 with heat. Again, this is with the calibrated shells, and 58 on your HE. You've got a 350 alpha gun, 300 on your heat, and 440 on your HE. Aim time is pretty solid at 2.7, and your dispersion is 0.317, and you have a very nice 10 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour. So yeah, basically that is the story of the M60. Now, we're just going to see how it plays, and when people first got this tank, because obviously it's never been released. The first time people ever see this tank was just random. You know, it was never really informed. It never really informed people on the news. Obviously, you were informed, and you get like a notification come up saying thank you for being loyal. You got this camouflage as well, which I don't know now. But if you buy the M60 now, or before, you didn't used to be able to get this camouflage with it. Now, I can't change the camouflage on the tank. This is it. This is what you get. So I'm not actually sure if that's still the case or not, whether it is this camouflage. I think it is. But you can never buy this camouflage, and you couldn't at the time. You could never buy the tank, and people that didn't get the tank would have never known about this tank, only when they see it in game. And then, of course, people started to hear about the M60. So if you was driving an M60 in game, you would get ripped. You would get absolutely ripped apart, because people would just see you as a gold noob. They would abuse you so much because you're a gold noob, because that is what the rumor was. You only got this tank if you spend a lot of money, not just a little bit of money, a lot of money in this game. So people would just rip into you. They would rip you a new arsehole, all because you're driving an M60. But of course, nowadays it's not like that, because as I've said, they have decided to sell it numerous of times, which I do honestly think is a mistake. If they're going to gift it to players, their loyal players, then they should have just left it as that. You know, like things like the the Kennyotsu. You know, they made a mistake, they took it off the store, and they still allowed the people that bought the Kennyotsu in that couple of hours to keep it. So it's a unique and rare tank. They could have done the same with this tank. I don't know why they haven't, and they should have. So yeah, that is my 2 cents on this this tank. Of course, I got the tank. Most other people, especially newer players, they would have never really known about the free M60 that was going around for people that we still think, even now, honestly, I still think the same as well. It was because you would spend so much money. You'd have had to spend a certain amount of money to cross the threshold to get this tank. But again, Wargaming still made that error, because not everybody got the tank that should have. So a friend of mine probably spent the same amount of money on the game than me. He didn't get it. I did. So yeah, Wargaming did make a boo-boo with this tank. So let me know your thoughts. Did you buy the M60? Now, it does come available quite often, usually in crates, if I'm honest, and auctions. It comes back with the auctions as well. So did you get given this tank, and what do you think the reason why you got this tank? Now, I'm being a bit of a noob here. I can't kill this player, but he does finally die. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the M60. Do you think it was right for Wargaming to gift players this tank, or do you think it was wrong? And do you think that Wargaming should have told people the real reason behind the M60? So for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With